and welcome back to another Reviews by Beth video, and today I'm so excited because I am reviewing the one and only Hairspray the musical. Hairspray, yeah! And that was so corny. Oh my god, I keep making puns. I need to stop. Anyway, this is currently on a UK tour at the minute. It's been touring for a while and I'm pretty sure it's touring all the way into 2025. And I recently went and saw this with my sister for a birthday present. I got her tickets for her birthday and it is so good. I haven't seen Hairspray for about 10 or 12 years and I saw Marcus Collins, who was in X Factor, play Seaweed, and so that's a throwback. But I recently went and saw it again because I just think the score is brilliant and it did not disappoint. We had some real stars in this, including the one and only Gina Murray, and we also had Neil Hurst, and so we had some big names in this, as well as some people who are making their very own debut in the theatre, which I absolutely love, including the one and only Tracy Turnblad. She was also making her debut, which was so exciting to see someone just so fresh and excited to get on the stage, and she absolutely killed it. Now, even though I'm just going to rave about this musical and this production for the length of the review, I thought I'd break it down a little bit. So I'm going to split it up into little sections. So I'm going to talk about the staging, I'm going to talk about the songs, I'm going to talk about the dancing and the direction. So I'm going to start off with the songs. Now, if you don't know the musical Hairspray, it has got some absolute bangers in, and I'm pretty sure you will have heard You Can't Stop the Beat. You will have at some point in some disco or other in your life, and it is so good. It feels like a jukebox musical. It feels something just is really feel good, and the music is always quite upbeat, but then you have a few quite sad songs as well within that. We've got Good Morning Baltimore, I Can Hear the Bells. We've got a few other really big ones, as well as some ballad numbers where we've got Without Love and I Know Where I've Been, some beautiful songs as well. So these songs are a 5 out of 5. Now, moving on to the actual production itself. The production is set in Baltimore in the 60s, and Baltimore is a very segregated city where white and black people just aren't allowed to mix, and they have certain areas for white people and certain areas for black people. And we look at the Corny Collins show, which is a teenage show where teenagers dance and sing, and they even have a separate show for black people. So yeah, so we're talking about that kind of era. Even though this is a really fun show, like really upbeat, really active, just the musical itself and the Corny Collins show, there is a big underlining theme throughout the show, which is the theme of racism and segregation and the way that is not okay, and them trying to bridge the divide between the city, starting with the Corny Collins show and allowing black people and white people to dance on the same stage. And in the end we get that, which is brilliant, but we have a few twists and turns in the story, and I always think it's really important even now to still produce musicals like this, because we think we've come so far, and we have. Since the 60s, we've come a long way, but there is still always space to change people's opinions, because we still have a lot of racism in this country and across the world. And so spreading positive messages and just making sure that we are not being prejudiced and racist is very important. So keeping shows like this, which talk about those big issues, are really important nowadays. The dancing in the show, it is a very upbeat show. As I said, it sounds almost like a jukebox musical, even though it isn't. And the dancing in this was phenomenal. I loved the dancing in this, and there was also, the choreographer did a really clever thing where she would do different styles for each group, and then slowly as opinions were changing, and by the end we kind of get a mesh of those two different styles. It was really fun to see kind of both different sides coming together. But I have to say, the dancing was so fun. The dancers were incredible. I have to do a shout out to the girl who played Amber, because she killed it. She absolutely stole the scenes when she was dancing. She was incredible. I thought she was amazing. I mean, everybody on that stage was amazing in their own right. The Tracy was everything you would want out of a Tracy. The Amber was horrid, you hated her. The Seaweed, I low-key fell in love with. He was really good. I loved Penny. I thought she was so good at that role. I haven't seen kind of a take on Penny like that, but I really enjoyed it. Who else have we got? We've got Mama Morton. She was amazing. Everybody on that stage was really good, and everyone committed to their characters, and you could tell that everybody was having a great time, and the dancing just elevated that on stage. I just thought the dancing was amazing. Now, it is a bright and colourful show. There's a lot of colours, and the set also really elevated that as well. The staging was brill. I have to say there is some wonderful, especially when we get into the Corny Collins space, that it is really beautiful. We had quite a few like disco kind of vibes. We had a lot of different colours on stage in the Welcome to the 60s dance and when we were in the Corny Collins show. So we had quite a lot of colours on stage, but then it was also contrasted when we went into the prison scene, and I loved that. I always feel like that felt like a little nod to Chicago, Cellblock Tango with the prison. So the set and the staging, I have to say, it wasn't like, the set wasn't like really extravagant. It was in some aspects, but it wasn't in others. It wasn't in comparison to something like Wicked or Les Mis, where they have an incredible set. It was quite minimal in compared to that, but it did what it needed to do, and I never thought, oh well, there's not enough things on stage. It felt really good. It did the job. The directing aspect of this, the way it was directed, was really good. There was a brilliant flow throughout the musical. You could tell that all the characters had really, and the actors had really committed to their character and had done a lot of research into them. And you could tell that the director knew their stuff. I think it was brilliantly directed. There were a few moments that were standout moments for me in a show, and I always like that when there's something, once you leave a show and you can think back on it and you go, wow, that was amazing. So my favourite parts of the show were, I don't even know, there's two parts. One that I definitely know was meant to happen, and one that I'm not sure was meant to happen. So the first one that is meant to happen is the song I Know Where I've Been, and that is the most gut-wrenching. It's in the second act, and it's about black freedom and black rights, and they go on a march and they try and storm the TV studio to say we should be able to dance on stage with these people, why shouldn't we be allowed? And there is the most beautiful song ever, and the woman who sang this was insane. She was incredible. But we have this moment where she's just singing her heart out, and it's a real anthem. And on stage they have all these signs up, but at the back of the stage, on the wall at the back, they projected loads of different black rights activists. So like Martin Luther King was on there and people like that, and it was just such a moving moment. And I feel like though everybody in the audience was just so captured at that point and was just so focused in on this and the movement and her beautiful singing and the song, it was really emotive, and I don't think there was a dry eye in the theatre at that point. I mean, her singing was just beautiful, but also that just really elevated it, and it just was really extremely powerful, and I thought it was wonderful. I think that was probably the best moment in the show for me. And then the other moment is completely contrasted to that, and I seriously don't know if this was meant to happen or not. My sister thinks it is meant to happen. I think it wasn't meant to happen, but at my show there is a song called Timeless to Me, and it's about Tracy's two parents who are just kind of vibing off of each other, having a lot of fun with each other, expressing their love to each other. They're timeless to each other, and they are two very funny parts in the show. And they broke out of character for quite a lot of it, and they were just kind of, they were playing and it was just hilarious, and I think maybe you had to be there. And I don't know if this was scripted, but they were just laughing and they would just stop what they were doing, and the orchestra would just kind of stop, and then they were just like laughing at each other and then laughing at the audience and making remarks to the audience like, can't believe this is what we do for a living, right? And it was just so funny, and everybody was just laughing along with them, and it was just such a moment. And literally everybody couldn't stop laughing, and then when we stopped laughing, they started laughing, and they would try again, and they'd do it again for another 30 seconds, and then we'd all start laughing again. I don't know if that was meant to be a bit or not, but whatever it was brilliant, and I loved it. So, I don't know. Who knows? That is up for debate. If you've been and seen it, did they break character? That is my thoughts on the Hairspray UK tour. It is such a wonderful show. I honestly think it's one of the classics for a reason. I mean, it's not a classic, but it is one of the greats for a reason. And the reason being, it's just so bloody brilliant. So yeah, it is on tour. I would check where you are and if it's coming to you, because it is just so good, and it's just feel good. It's one for the family. If you want to take your family, it's totally family appropriate. I just think it is a wonderful show. I mean, I love all things musical theatre, but this is a brilliant show, and I'm so glad it's back, because for a while it hasn't been. And yeah, I love it when these shows come back and then you feel real urge to go and see them. So I'm gonna give this a 5 out of 5 stars, because you can't give it any less than that. So yeah, those are my thoughts and opinions on Hairspray UK Tour, and it is brilliant. That is it for the video. Please like, comment and subscribe. It really helps the channel. And if you want to support the channel even more, you can look at my Patreon and support through there. So thank you so much. Bye!